What's up, everyone? It's time. Showdown breakdown, Monday Night Football. We're taking a look at the Giants at the Steelers. It's kind of going to be a gross one, I think, Bobbywow. But I got Bobbywow with me here to break it down, and that's never gross. That is a beautiful thing. Bobbywow, some great calls this weekend. A couple not so great, but really, I thought a spectacular Sunday. I handcrafted. The last lineup I did was like a 195. It was almost good enough to win the Millie Maker itself. Yeah. The Winston play.
Man, I'm going to have to become a disciple at this point.
You got it. You can't be shitting on
I'm a believer, man.
Are you coming on board yet?
He tried so hard to throw a pick at the end, but
didn't care about the pick.
He came through.
Don't care about the pick sixes with Jameis. Everybody shitted on me. They all said
it would have taken the last touchtown off the board. But
they all made fun of me, Bobby. Well,
you're right.
By they, I mean
I am
you.
a believer. You turned me into a believer. Today was me.
I want to say congratulations first to Sliders, my guy, who almost took down $1 million. The Gummy Watson play. There it is. Somebody was watching the show. But Sliders was a Cortland Sutton fumbles, Bobbywow. It takes a point away, and that knocks Sliders out from $1 million down to 50,000 yesterday. Obviously, Rick 12324 is happy, Mr. Name and Numbers, but Sliders almost had this one. So my guy, congrats to Sliders. Really nice lineup.
Great lineup
over the weekend. Had a ton of winners. Of course, we got to show my favorite contest from the weekend, and it's gone, Bobbywow. It's over. Those of you who haven't listened to me about the free money contest, it's gone. So, all right, you can ignore it. You ignored me before. You didn't play it. But congrats to Superman74, 6th place in this one. The burn in this lineup, Kenny Walker, not Dynamite for Walker.
And he came close, too. He got tapped with the one, I think. Oh, my gosh.
Yeah, Kenny Walker got it done. And here's your boy. My best finish in this one yesterday, and to end the run of the free money contest, I got 18th place. It was Tyreek Hill who kind of tanked this particular lineup for me. But you can see here a lot of the core plays that I was using. Actually, not really. I had so much Tillman. I have so much Winston. Why was it a Lamar Jackson that made it up there? I don't even know. But we move on. We've got a showdown tonight, Bobbywow. And it involves a player who I have previously said is dead to me, and that's Daniel Jones. He's dead to me.
I think dead to me rules don't apply on showdowns.
Yeah, I mean, you can only be dead to me for so long, of course, but still, he is kind of dead to me. But that's okay. Let's get into this one. A little bit here. I should have opened the domination station. I'll do that on another tab. But, let's start with the Steelers. Last week, they went to Russell Wilson at the helm, Bobbywow, with I thought, good results. I thought the team looked better with Russ than Fields. And I am biased towards Fields, but they did look better with Russell Wilson.
Yeah, I mean, crazy. I can't even believe Mike Tomlin knows what he's doing at the end of the day. And the team just looked like an actual offense, a functioning offense, especially the second half. So very surprising, but yeah, Russ looked great. Yeah.
And I think the important notes, I always try to pay attention to these two running backs and see what's going on. They kind of went back to their usual mix. You had a few weeks of just Najee, but last week, 60-40 kind of split on the rushing percentage, but a 50-50 split on the actual snap count. That was against the Jets they played last week, right? So, 50-50 split for Harrison Warren. I don't like that scene at all, but I do like running back against the Giants. So that's going to be tricky for tonight.
I do too. Yeah, I think, without Fields, you'll get more of the kind of the pass catching running back scheme, right? And worked in a little bit more. And that's why we see Warren here. You saw the targets, triple Najee in targets, not that many targets though. But at the end of the day, Warren is kind of that more explosive pass catcher. So I think as long as Russ is under center, we can expect a similar split moving forward.
Yeah. Another interesting phenomenon for last week was the double tight end. The amount of double tight end at the that the Steelers ran was very high. You could see here Freiermuth 75%, 70% snap count, 50% for Darnell Washington, and then Michael Pruitt out there 44%, meaning effectively the Steelers had 2 tight ends on the field almost the entire game.
Yep.
Why are they doing that? I think it's pretty obvious, but for the most part, it's because they're just running 2 wide receivers most of the time. And you can see here it's Pickens and Van Jefferson. Van Jefferson being out there more of a blocker than anything else. Calvin Austin only a 50% snap count last week. Pretty much what he's doing all year. Nothing has changed here.
Yeah, Austin's kind of like the deeper threat. He's the Darnell Mooney of this offense. And Van Jefferson gets a couple of targets a game. I think he was targeted in the end zone. I may have caught a touchdown last week actually, but he
did. But
strictly 2-3 targets a game for Jefferson is what it's been.
That was his miracle target. I'm amazed at how someone like Van Jefferson gets to stay in the NFL. I am. It amazes me.
But I think the moral of the story here, though, is George Pickens is the guy. He's the wide receiver in the offense.
Yeah, Pickens is the only guy that's getting interest. He's a 30% target share on the season. He's 30% last week, 30% all the time. All right, shifting gears to the Giants, and I do see an interesting phenomenon that happened last week. So, Singletary's back.
Yep.
And Tyrone Tracy looked much, much better than Singletary when Tracy was starting in place of Singletary.
Yes.
So in this case now, we've got Singletary, even with Singletary back last week, 70-20 split in favor of Tyrone in terms of snap counts.
Yep.
In terms of actual rushing percentage and actual receptions, Tyrone Tracy also led, but by a slightly smaller margin. But he still clearly led the way in terms of snaps, rushing percentage, and target percentage.
Yeah, it's tough because Tracy absolutely has looked better. Singletary went out, Tracy stepped up. He looked really, really good while Singletary was out. There's not a whole lot that Singletary does that's, mind-blowing or that's explosive. He's kind of who he is. And I think, they saw Tracy can be more than that. And so Devin Singletary, he's going to get his rushes. You saw last week, he got, his rushes along with Danny Dimes and Tracy. But I think at the end of the day, Tracy's probably the guy you want to play, especially from a DraftKings point of view, if you're going to play a running back on this team as someone with the PPR upside. We know that the Steelers are very good against the run. And so that pass catching running back again is going to come into play here as well, I think.
Now, the Steelers also have an elite cornerback in Joey Porter Jr. Is he healthy for this game?
I believe he's healthy. I haven't seen anything otherwise. So, but again, it's Daniel Jones throwing the football. So there's not anyone we were, trusting in massively anyway.
No, but I do want to know if the guy is available and healthy. Just because even as terrible as Daniel Jones is, and he gets worse on the road at the Steelers, like he stinks, right? But he still is throwing the ball and is targeting. So last week, Neighbors comes off of injury, 30% target share in the terrible game. Giants were terrible. But he got a 30% share, and Wan'Dale Robinson got a 30%. They're just throwing to these two guys. That's what I like about the Giants. As bad as Jones is, they literally only throw it to these two guys. There's no one else. Theo, the tight end, barely involved. Yeah, Theo Johnson, 0 targets last week, 6%. They're not throwing to him, Bobbywow.
They're not. And I think, he's turtly, but he's definitely the TE1. He's the guy that's going to, if anyone's going to get, reps at tight end position, it's not going to be Bellinger. I know he got a target last week.
I just remember they did target Theo in the end zone. He dropped one or he dropped a potential touchdown last week.
Theo's a turtly target here, but at the end of the day, like you said, Brian Daboll wants to get the ball to Malik Neighbors as often as possible, and he's going to find ways to do it. So, Joey Porter or not, Danny Dimes at the helm or not, Malik Neighbors is going to get tons and tons of volume. That doesn't change here.
Yeah, but also, I think the viability of Wan'Dale Robinson is real, and he's a viable play, and he's getting a ton of targets. Even if he doesn't do as much with them, he gets a ton of targets. And yeah, Tracy can catch a pass. I mean, I think one of the knocks on Singletary was he was never the greatest of pass catchers. That pretty much
the upside of Tracy.
Yeah, that pretty much covers the overall here. In terms of the matchups, I think what I want to do next is we can get into the cheat sheet stuff, or we could just jump right onto the domination station here and look at some of these ownerships. And I think that might not be a bad way to go. So we'll take a look at the ownerships and see kind of what's going on as far as this team and the potential captain spots and all of that. Let me plug that in here, Bobbywow. You know what I'll do, though, real quick is just, first let's get in there. And let me give a little reminder to people, guys, because this is pretty cool. It is Equinox Sunday. Equinox Monday, I mean. All sports going. An unusual day where we'll have NBA, MLB, NHL, and NFL all going simultaneous. And I want to give everybody a chance to experience DFS Army and what it's like to have DFS Army for all these different sports, to have cheat sheets and notes and ownerships and player project. I know you watch these shows like I get the ownerships. Kevin shows it on the screen. You don't get it for everything. We give you a little taste, put little taste nuggets out there for you guys. But this is what everybody who's a DFS Army subscriber gets. So if you want to check out DFS Army, but you don't want to pay because you're a cheap ass, you don't feel that the work is worth anybody getting paid. You don't think Bobbywow and Josiah deserve to be compensated for all the work they put in, and Uppers Lad with the projections. Well, here's a free month offer on DFS Army. You could just click right up here. You see this little button there. It says free month. And there are all these sites you can sign up for, and they are partner sites for DFS Army. And when you sign up for one, they sponsor a month of DFS Army VIP. No big deal. Don't like it? No harm, no foul. Cancel after the month, but you can get a free month. That's pretty damn good. Pretty nice thing, and we put that out there. Those guys sponsor. It's not free. Those guys sponsor. You're not harming us when you do those deals. We like it. So follow the instructions. Click on the free month. You send us a note. Hey, I signed up for the free month. Can offer thingy? Can I get a free month of DFS Army VIP? And we answer right away. We got people, 24 hours, man in the phone lines, 24 hours a day. Bobbywow,
24 hours,
manning those phone lines. Just kidding. No one would ever answer a phone if it said DFSR. Like, there is no phone line here.
The Discord lines. Yeah.
It's not even that. We're in the Discord. That's it. There's no phone line. Don't call. Never call. All right. So as we get into it, Brandon, best bets are readily available for you, my friend. Sharp.app is the website. All the best betting tools, the bets for tonight, all that stuff. You just go to sharp.app. Promo code DFSA 25% off. Sharp app. That is the betting tools site extraordinaire. No place better. No place better.
Almost like a plant there. That was perfect.
Yeah. That was almost like, yeah, that's right. He does not work for us. That just came through out of nowhere. It's good timing, Brandon. Thank you. Thank you for allowing me to do the promotion in a perfect transition. All right, Bobbywow. Ownerships.
Yeah, I think we're going to see that ownerships make a lot of sense here. Got Malik Neighbors up top. Russ Wilson.
People. Yeah.
Ugh.
Russ, I mean, okay, I guess. Pickens, oh, sure. Najee Harris, kind of gross, right? But all right. Can we just go all like Malik? I don't know what to do here. I don't love Russell Wilson. I don't like Najee very much.
Yeah, it's really tough. It's a tough night. And I think, honest to God, this might be the first night where I roll out some captain kickers and maybe even captain defense in my lines. I've never done that before.
Yeah. Let's actually, before we get into it, let's like talk about how this game might go down. There's really only two ways in my opinion, but I do want to hear the version and what you think, because I'm feeling very biased. My feeling is that the Giants stink. Their offense stinks. And they're going up against a good defensive team, which is usually a recipe for disaster.
Yeah.
Like, they're so bad that when they play a bad defense, it kind of looks okay. But when they play a good defense, it just looks like a nightmare.
Yeah.
And this is a good defense. I don't know how you put it another way. Unless the Steelers come out just flat. You know,
it doesn't happen under Mike Tomlin. That just
it usually doesn't. It usually doesn't. Like, they are not that kind of a team. But if they come out flat and whatever, I could see it. But what is the version of this game that plays out where, like, so you've got Steelers defenses, maybe Steelers defense tonight. This could be a 20-pointer for a defense.
It could be, yeah. And kicker, Chris Boswell could easily be one of the top point scorers on the slate. I think my only rebuttal to you, because everything you've spoken is correct, it's all facts, is that this is a showdown slate, and anything and everything can happen and will happen on a showdown slate. That's really the only rebuttal I have.
For sure. And by the way, a team can get their ass kicked and still have a player go bananas.
Oh, absolutely.
CeeDee Lamb just went bonkers last night in a game that, Dallas was kind of handled in. So I guess as we go through this, the second version of the game and the way it plays out is like, also the Giants suck, but not that bad. They're still terrible, but they're a little less terrible. They can move the football. It's not a 27-3 type destruction where no offensive players on the Giants do anything, but rather, they lose, but it's, 27-17. Some Giants players do okay.
Yeah, they stink, but they have an identity at least. They know that Malik Neighbors, they want to get the ball to Malik. They want to run the football, trying to establish the run. And Danny Dimes, they want him to be quick and efficient as a passer. And so we know they have an identity at least. And let's also not forget that the Steelers, aren't, God's team. They're not an excellent team by any means. Yes, their defense is solid. Their run defense in particular is very, very good. But the Steelers team offensively, we saw one start from Russ last week. We really don't know what we're going to get.
Giants defense could surprise and have a good game against Russell Wilson.
The Giants are one of the top 3 or 4 pass defenses in the entire league. Their secondary's banged up, continues to be banged up, but they continue to get it done too. So yeah, like you said, I think Giants defense is going to be one of the more overlooked options on the slate.
Yeah, the Giants have been getting sacks and they've been rushing the passer. They've been pretty damn good. So, it is one of these games where I don't see like the widest spread of outcomes, because I don't see a version where the Giants just like dominate the game and win and, hold the Steelers down. I could see a close game that the Steelers win, or a complete blowout that the Steelers win. I don't have a third version of this one.
Yeah, I think for me, what it comes down to is if you're playing this, DFS, and hopefully you're playing, focusing on tournaments here. But if, let's say, you're playing this in DFS, I think the important takeaway is that, in a game like this, one play can truly change everything. One blown coverage, one deep ball where someone trips, one single play can change the slate. So, play as if that can happen, I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Play as if Daniel Jones can be full faded, as if Najee Harris, as if Malik Neighbors, if he's not in the lineup, that's also okay. Like, there's versions of this game playing out where the Giants offense is completely inept. And
there's versions, Russ will be 70% owned across the board. There's versions where Najee scores a touchdown, Jaylen Warren scores a touchdown, and then Chris Boswell kicks a couple field goals, and Russ doesn't sniff the optimal lineup.
And so they don't need him, because there's a lot. Steelers defense gets it done also. You know what I mean? So there's versions where Steelers defense is just getting it done too, and run one in, and just don't need that much out of it. I feel like I've seen a team win 40-0 in a game, and the quarterback only got 11, because that's just how the game went. Weird things happen on a showdown. All right, so let's talk about potential captains. The highest owned, but this foursome, they all have about the same ownership. So you've got Neighbors, Russ, Pickens, and Najee Harris, all about the same.
Yeah,
taking up 60% of the captain spots.
It's pretty wild. Malik makes the most sense to me, obviously. I know he's the most expensive. You've talked about Joey Porter a little bit, but here's what we know. Number one, the Steelers stop the run. So it's going to be tough for the Giants to run the football. And number two, in virtually every scenario you just covered, the Giants are going to need to throw the football. So, and given their identity is get the ball to Malik, that he should have, as long as he can stay healthy, which is a big if, he should have tons of opportunities and tons of volume tonight.
Yeah, Malik can have a big game. I love Malik Neighbors in general, even when the Giants are playing bad. I just love Malik, but he will be covered by Joey Porter Jr. And so I think actually the sneakier spot here is going to be Wan'Dale, who will have the weaker coverage. Listen, I love Malik, though. Don't get me wrong, but I think Wan'Dale becomes, anytime you're going up against a team with a star CB1, you're looking at the WR2, who on the Giants is a guy who's already getting 30% target share. I don't think he's going to do that much with it, but it doesn't matter. When you get 30% of 30 you're going to get 9 targets in a game. I don't know the price yet. I do know the price. He's cheaper than Malik.
Not cheap enough. He's priced up a little bit. Wan'Dale is.
He's definitely not as cheap as you'd like, but 7-8, I think that's fair price for 7 or 8 targets on a showdown. Yeah. Looking at some salaries here. Yeah, Tyrone Tracy is probably incorrectly priced to the downside. So they priced Singletary at 8,400 and Tracy at 4,400. Bobbywow.
Yeah, and I got a psycho dog barking in the background. Old lady, but Tyrone Tracy to me is far and away one of the better options on the slate on the Giants side of the football. But from value to that PPR upside we talked about. But again, look at the ownership there. He's going to be a little chalky.
Yeah, well, because they mispriced him. Where's Steelers defense? I'm just curious.
I think the defenses will be chalky, but they're probably not as chalky as they should be, honestly. I think one of the plays that I'm interested in down here is Jaylen Warren. It was really, really interesting to see that, despite Najee actually being good over the last couple of weeks, Warren came back in and played a big role. He got double-digit touches, and he was involved in the passing game. So I think, while Tracy's a great option, can't overlook Warren down there as well if we're trying to get some value.
I'm not sure if Warren means he's good value or if it means just don't play Najee. I just think, they're going to split and it's expensive.
Yeah, it is. Well, yeah. My bias always says don't play Najee. So
you already had that bias going. Yeah. All right. I'm just like,
but
I'm not sure which
good.
one normally in a game where I'm very high on a defense, I like the kicker. I like not just the kicker. I do like the kicker, but I also like the running back attached to that defense. But man, there's 2 of those guys and they're splitting down the middle and they're both expensive.
Yeah.
It's a tough one.
Yeah. Najee's pricey, but you can't argue. He's been pretty dang good. And I think Rust under center actually does a lot to help him too.
Let's take a look at the turd zone here. By turd zone, guys, I mean players priced pretty much below what a kicker costs. So I see Tyrone Tracy at 4,400. Maybe some Calvin Austin, a little bit of interest there.
Absolutely.
After that,
talk about one play. He's a guy that can get it done on one play.
Yeah, Calvin, hold on. Let's go. Let me introduce the turd zone. Guys, we're looking at the turd zone. Where my turds at? That's how you win showdowns. Got to pick the right turd, Bobbywow. That's how you win a showdown.
Yeah. How are you going to play Malik, Russ, and Pickens? You got to find a turd.
I only see 2 that have any interest for me whatsoever. Calvin Austin, fine. 3K. Tyrone Tracy, 4,400. And then in the turdliest of them all, to me, is Theo Johnson. Again, he dropped a touchdown last week. It's not like, he gets a target in the end zone.
Yeah. I like Theo. I'll be overweight on Theo. No question about it. People are talking about Michael Pruitt, Darnell Washington. These tight ends are on the field. They are, and that's all you can ask for from a turd, right? Is to see them on the field and give them a chance.
Dixon Sider's already working the scenario of, I actually wanted to get into this for a second though, because this happened again last night. So I'm gonna sidebar this, but yes, Malik Neighbors gets hurt. I think Darius Slayton has to be in some lineups. he is also a big play wide receiver that can get it done off of 1 or 2 targets. Don't ignore Darius Slayton, right? And of course, Freiermuth as well. I think the tight end Freiermuth for Pittsburgh is a good play, and I think Slayton is good.
Slayton played every single snap last week.
Yeah, he's out there the whole time.
Absolutely viable, yes.
He's not commanding the targets when Malik is out there. But again, if Malik is being covered by Joey Porter Jr., I'm telling you, they're going to have to go to the other guys. So Slayton will be interesting as well tonight.
Yep.
You know what happened yesterday, though, Bobby? I want to actually address this because I talk about this on the show, and sometimes I forget to talk about it. So last night we're watching the game. Jordan Mason, in the most predictable thing ever, he's been getting banged up. He gets knocked out of the game. And DeMarcado comes in for him, the backup, and plays the whole game out. And it's another, and I'm sitting there looking at it going, on this show, we always talk about who's the running back and who's the backup, and especially certain scenarios where there's a true starting running back where you really just want to always attack these showdowns by having some exposure to the backup without the starter.
Yep.
Because your Mason running backs were dead in 2 seconds last night. They were gone. Oh, he's in the tent. Oh, shit. Done. That happens all the time, Bobby.
It does.
People don't allow it to enter their mind that that's like a 20% of the time outcome. That doesn't happen like, oh, you're Christ, it runs out, you're lucky. None of that shit happens all the time.
Yeah. And here's the reality. I think people want to live in extremes, right? So they hear you say that. And I mean, this is me too, not they, me and other people hear you say that. And it's like, well, how could you plan for injury? Or why would I make all my lineups around that once? No, you don't have to do that. There's a middle ground where you can build lineups that account for this. Have a percentage of lineups that do without, having all of them. Not an all or nothing thing.
You have to build lineups for what can be, unburdened by what has been. We don't know. It's what could happen, not what will happen.
One of the books had a prop on that somewhere. You getting that into one of these shows.
I'm just saying. We talk about this all the time, and then you get the trolls, and when I see the trolls, it's not that the trolling bothers me. It's that I feel like that it's not being communicated properly. These things happen, and if you want to win these showdown contests, you have to account for those situations. I can't predict them. I'm not able to predict when a running back is going to get hurt. Some of them do get hurt a lot, but other times you don't have to predict it. Just say, yeah, fuck it. The running backs are getting hurt at a 20% clip, and the backup comes in. It happens less common with wide receivers, but it does happen as well. You see it with the wide receiver groups as well. Why am I playing a WR4? It's hard with running back. It's very easy to set it up. If I've got Amari DeMarcado, if that's the guy's name from last night, if I've got him in a lineup, do not allow Mason in the same lineup.
And that's one of the top values that being with DFS Army brings, is that you can build a bunch of lineups to include that scenario within your overall build. I honestly, I don't know if we have time or not, but it might be worth even just jumping into the DS now, just to show how you would set something up like that. I know we've done it before, but I think we've covered pretty much all the players at this point.
Yeah, I mean, in a quick, it's the simplest on the optimizer. You just make a rule here. I'm going to stack between 0 and 1 of, and let's say I wanted to do the same concept, and it doesn't really work with Najee and Warren per se, no. But if I wanted to set that up, I would have Warren, I would have Harris, and I would do between 0 and 1 of Warren and Harris in all lineups, right? And I would make a rule like that, but there's a second part to it. Yeah, Garendo. And so for last night, it would have been between 0 and 1 of Mason and Garendo in all lineups, but there's a second part to it. The second component is you have to go to the one that's not going to show up normally in a lineup because they just won't, because it's Garendo and he's not supposed to play. And then you smash a min expose on him of, let's say, 10%. And so 10% of the lineups I'm about to generate, making 150, I'm going to get 15 lineups with Garendo, they have Garendo and they don't have Mason.
Yep.
It's that simple. Now, some people, the first thought, and Bobbywow, I have this thought too. I don't want to waste 15 lineups on some crazy injury scenario. It makes me feel bad. I don't like doing it. I know I'm going to lose those lineups.
Yep.
Here's what you have to tell yourself. Sorry, I'm getting it. I got away from the breakdown because I'm going fucking philosophical. Here's what you tell yourself. I'm losing anyway. 99% of the lineups you're going to make, if they're not in first place in a showdown, you might as well be in last. It doesn't matter. Who cares? So you're losing anyway. So you need to throw away. You have to be comfortable throwing away the lineups. That's right. It is DFS insurance. And it's insurance that when the 20% of the time when that shit happens, you're putting yourself in like a real position to win the tournament. Because if that, first of all, that backup running back's only 2-3%, you got to double or triple their ownership. You have to have leverage. But the second component of your leverage is a big chunk of those lineups that have that guy will have the starting running back too. They did not differentiate.
Yeah.
It's not just that. I mean, I've seen people do it with backup quarter. I don't do it with the quarterback, to be fair.
No. There's other tangents you can go on, right? Like in this game, we mentioned the running backs, both are involved. So it doesn't make sense to necessarily go that route here. But, this is where I might do something like only, between 0 and 2 of Najee, Warren, and Russ, or, even decrease, like if Najee and Warren are in that lineup, no Russ. There's different ways to like utilize that function and build around different slates depending on the script. So I think it's really important that you bring that up again. I think that's really good.
DFS lineups and lotto tickets, Ted Lemoyne, are the exact same thing pretty much, or very similar. It's like a skilled lotto ticket. So that's right. They're all lotto tickets. All right. With that being said, let's so we don't really have many turds here, Bobby. Well, let's make a lineup.
Sure.
Did we talk? Yeah, we talked about captains. Who's your favorite captain?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's Neighbors is up there for me. I think Pickens, obviously. I think if there's a sneaky one I'm trying to play, it's maybe Jalen Warren is my sneakier captain. I'm trying to get some leverage. But yeah, I like a lot of the chalk, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's tough to get away from that.
Wandale, you mentioned Wandale. I think that's a good potential tournament captain pick.
If I had to get away, maybe Wandale, maybe Tyrone Tracy, but I don't think so. This doesn't strike me as the kind of slate where you needed all these high-priced players either. I think, we'll see. Let's see what it feels like.
Tracy too. I'll have Tracy a captain, some exposure there. Yep.
Yeah, a little bit there. Tracy definitely better than Singletary for me at this point, though.
Yeah.
So let's start one out, and let's see if we pay the most expensive captain, Neighbors, how the rest of the lineup can potentially look here. So if you played Neighbors, you kind of might think that Daniel Jones is having an acceptable game. No, he's too stink. He's too shit.
I mean, you could throw him in there for now, but he'd be the first guy I would take out if we needed it.
Yeah. I mean, I definitely want Pickens.
Yes,
the way that
I would agree.
30% target share from Russell Wilson is something that I'm excited for. Pickens and Russell Wilson, by the way, are a really good match. Do you think they're a really good match because of the style of play of Russell Wilson?
Yeah.
I think Deontay Johnson should be traded back to the Steelers.
Sure. I think it makes sense on paper. I think there were other issues that led to his departure there.
If that's the case, that's the case. But if it was just I don't know why he left, but that's who they need. They're missing Deontay on this team. They need a possession. They need a wide receiver that can route run and be open, because Pickens is not that. Pickens is I'm not going to be open, but just throw it to me anyway. I'll try to get it. That's what.
And I'll start most of my lineups with these two guys for sure.
Yeah. Deontay should be traded the next couple of days. Yeah, he's going somewhere. So we'll see. We'll see what. To me, it should probably. There's a lot of teams that could use him. I guess. Are you a Steelers fan, Mr. 5 Cent, or is he a Lions fan? He wants him on the Lions. Like, they got enough weapons on the Lions.
You know who Deontay would look good with is the Commanders. Deontay would look really good.
They need a wide receiver too. They need one bad. Would like to see it. Would like to see that. They could really use a guy like him.
They could do some big time. Yeah.
Yeah. But, yeah. That would be dangerous. And I don't know. Is he? I feel like that's a Detroit hat there. That doesn't look like a Steelers. Maybe he's a Steelers fan and a Lions fan. I don't know.
Drops.
Pickens second guy in. I think you got to put Tyrone. You bet to. I'm not going to sing it anymore. My call Tyrone, Erica Badu. It's before your time, Bobbywow. You never heard that song.
No, I haven't. But Boswell, I throw Boswell in there next.
You definitely haven't heard that song. Steelers defense. I mean, you could do this with Steelers defense. I
could. Okay. I'm probably not going there. Again, this salary really isn't going to be a thing here.
It's not as worrisome as you'd think. You get Russell Wilson in there, and I like it. Russ, Freiermuth, maybe not Boswell. What about a Giants kicker in there instead of that? Nah. Yeah?
Yeah, why not?
If you got Wilson, Freiermuth, and Pickens.
I'd build one with both. I'd build one with Giants, one with Bozzy too. I think Boswell. A lot of people think there's like too much negative correlation there with Russ and Freiermuth and Pickens. Not necessarily. You'd be surprised.
Yeah, he's not. First of all, RJ Twitty, he was pretty bad. Have you guys seen what Russell Wilson looks visibly thinner than he did last season? I'm not trying to body shame anyone, but he looks visibly thinner to me. Like not as fat.
You thought
he looked like a fat ass last year. Like I straight up thought he looked like a fat ass.
Well, you can't say I'm not trying to body shame and then say you look fat.
No, it's not body shaming. This is professional NFL punditry. He looked like a fat ass. He did. He had a stomach, and now he looks thinner. I only observe it not because I care about his body shape. I'm saying he was slow and he couldn't. He was getting tired out there, eating bagels all day and whatever the hell he was doing. Ciara feeding him, that carnivore diet. I don't know what the hell they're up to, but he looked fat last year. I'm not joking. This is not even making a joke. I was like, wow, he looks much more slender. And then when he was running around last week against the Jets, I'm like, I feel like he's moving quicker out there. Like he looks.
Let's not forget too, though. He played really well before he got the cold shoulder on the Broncos.
Yeah, he wasn't bad. He wasn't bad late in the Broncos run either. He was looking better. He wasn't looking great. He was just looking a little better. But no, I genuinely thought like Russell Wilson was out there looking a little heavy, and I thought that slowed him down. And his superpower of being able to scramble around, and then throw a bomb that's his whole career. I've watched this guy since he was a rookie. Every one of us have, and he's not a new thing. He scrambles, throws a bomb. Well, in the past, he lost his ability to scramble. They were catching him. Like he would just outrun those defensive linemen. Last year, they were catching him. So I don't know. I felt like being a little more slender, maybe he's running around a little quicker out there, can kind of do the Russell Wilson things.
Yeah, I think it's that. I think it's, the Tomlin difference going from Peyton, who hated him, to Mike Tomlin. That's just a massive change. And then you highlighted Pickens too. I totally agree with that take. He complements Russ very well.
Yeah, because when he's just running around out there and he's going to launch one to wherever Pickens is standing, and Pickens probably not going to be open, but he can go up and get it just fine. So, let's talk about some X factors in this game, Bobbywow. Give me some X factors. We made that.
I think the decision between Tracy and Singletary is actually a big decision, because in tournaments, you're going to get Devin Singletary, who operated as the chief back here for a long time at, probably 10% ownership, 10 to 15%. That's nothing. So I think in tournaments, there is a potential consideration to be made there. Yes, he's expensive. Maybe they were easing him in last week. Maybe it's not the Tracy show. Who knows? So I just want to call that out. Yeah. Darnell Washington, he's a turd. Look, 2,800 though. Look at last week.
4 targets last week on the field the whole time.
But does not crack the optimal lineup at 7.6 points still.
No
way.
But the 4 targets, I think, make him somebody that's going to be in the mix for your lineups this week. He's out there. He's getting targeted. Good call in the chat on that one. So I think in the turd zone here, the potential turds / difference makers, I'll throw Darnell in the mix if he gets a touchdown.
He's so expensive though. My gosh, 2,800 is crazy for a second string tight end.
Yeah. But he can get a touchdown and it doesn't matter. And by the way, if you're over the field on that, he's probably only going to be 5% owned. If you were like 12, 13%, again, don't be scared to throw away lineups on these turds, That is how you win tournaments.
What if I told you he was 10% owned by the field?
Is it 10? That's a lot. It's going to be hard to get that over on that one. Calvin Austin at 3K could win you the tournament this week.
Yes, I do like Calvin Austin a lot. I like him and Slayton on the other side. Both the deep targets. I think again, just remember the one play thing in a game like this. Both those guys are one play game changers.
What I like about Slayton, I mean, isn't it amazing? Malik Neighbors is out for 2 games, 11-11. Malik Neighbors comes back 1. That's not going to continue. They have to spread it around. Here's what I'm thinking. Joey Porter on Malik. They're forced to throw it a different direction. Slayton catches a bomb for a touchdown, winds up in the nuts.
There you go.
Could happen. Or more likely than not, Giants only score 3 points in this whole fucking game and they stink. I mean, that's probably what's really going to happen.
Yeah, but I will be overweight on both Slayton and Austin on the other side. I think those are your tournament options that could have a true upside.
We've got to build some Giants get destroyed runs. I think I'm going to do separate runs on the optimizer. I'm going to do a Giants get decimated and heavy on Steelers defense and heavy on that Boz and 5-1 and 4-2 lineups galore. I'm just going to do those with heavy Steelers across the board. And I'll maybe out of 150, let's say I'll do 30, 40 lineups like that. And then I'll do the rest more balanced. I think that's how I'm going to run it. Because I really want to have these overkill Giants get mauled lineups. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Because that could happen. That can happen here.
Of course it could.
I need to account for it. Why not a Contreras? I just cannot. I don't have the gummies in me now, Dixon, and that might be the issue. Because I cannot get my brain to allow it. Like I can't find the version of the game. I picture them in my head. I see the whole game playing out, and I can't find the version where the Giants do good.
Yeah, but again, like we don't necessarily need a team to do good or win for multiple players from that team to be in the optimal lineup. That's the thing we have to remember. And also, if Russ eats a danger witch, goes back to what Geek would describe as fat Russ, and shows us that he still doesn't have it. That's where the Giants win. But yeah, I agree. It's hard to see a scenario where that happens.
You know what happened? He went back to cooking his own meals and then he lost all the weight. Because remember, Russ is cooking and he's cooking these terrible meals. Remember the memes about Russ where all the meals are horrible?
Yes.
Remember that? So Russ started cooking for himself, and even he can't eat that shit. It's so gross. That's what happened, Bobbywow. He's making spaghetti with ketchup and hamburger bits. Who's going to eat that?
Who's going to eat that?
Who's going to eat that?
People mentioning Van Jefferson in the chat. Yeah, look, I think we don't have time to dive into everybody. I think every Pittsburgh wide receiver between Pickens, Austin, and Van Jefferson are all viable with Russ. Much more viable with Russ than they were with Justin Fields. So yes, you should have if you're running out 20 plus lineups, you should be mixing those 3 guys in.
That's a big difference just in general here is that they're running an NFL normal offense where with Fields, it was more of this hybrid, like, let's just not lose the game on offense and play defense. I mean, when Russ is the quarterback, they're still going to be conservative, but he's probably, again, I'm reluctantly, I'm a big Fields fan. You know this, Bobby.
I am too. Yeah.
We're both big fans of Fields, but I kind of think maybe the NFL was right in terms of him not necessarily being a starting franchise quarterback.
And there's one key distinction. Russell Wilson looks to throw first and Justin looks to run.
Yeah. With that being said, let's take a look at FanDuel real quick. And I just want to, where's Tyrone?
Tyrone?
There he is, 11.5. So, okay. So what they did on FanDuel was they priced Tyrone Tracy above Devin Singletary. Again, be aware that FanDuel is a sharper pricing model than DraftKings now. That's important to note. They are better at pricing these players than DraftKings is, and they have been for a while. So FanDuel correctly acknowledges Tyrone as the better running back. They also have Najee significantly more expensive, which actually could present an opportunity. But I first looked at this and I said, what is the most likely, what's the most comfortable captain? And since neither team has a dominant running back, I think I went to Russell Wilson as the better quarterback.
Fully agree. Yeah, I think Neighbors too. This is as much as a wide receiver's been in play to this point on FanDuel, I think, with Neighbors and even Pickens, you can make the argument for as well. But I think Russ is the top.
Yeah.
The top choice.
By the way, I don't mind making a lineup without Neighbors either, by the way. I just want to point that I don't definitely think that on FanDuel, Neighbors can catch 8 passes for 80 yards, and it's really just not that special of a score.
At 16.5 at the most expensive price on the slate, right?
Yeah, it's like not that he's not going to outscore. Basically, he could do 8 receptions, 100 yards or 95 yards, and he'll have a 13.5. And Daniel Jones on a shit game could have a 14.5, having done almost nothing.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's going to be hard for Malik Neighbors without a touchdown to outscore even dimes, as gross as that is.
Yeah, I think one way I'm just trying to take a stand here is, especially on the Giants side, when Daniel Jones is in the lineup, I don't want any Singletary, first and foremost, and I'm going to reduce the projection for Tracy because it's highly unlikely that they score more than 1 or 2 touchdowns, and whoever scores them is going to be the one the optimal between the quarterback and the running back. I think same is true on the Steelers side. I really don't want Russell and Najee in the same lineup. So I will probably, I don't know that I'll make a rule against it, but I'll for sure decrease exposure quite a bit.
Let me show real quick on the optimizer how to do that. Guys, the domination station, it's the most customizable and most powerful optimizer in existence. Don't be fooled. There's nothing else that allows you to customize like us. I've used them all. The other ones are very plug and play. Click a button. You're going to have the same lineups as 10,000 other people who click the same button. I don't even understand why people do that. It's so difficult to customize and adjust these other optimizers, at least the ones that I've tested out. It's so everybody's getting the same run. I'm telling you, it's bizarre. Whereas the DOM station gives the power to the user. And so I want to show you how you would simply create what you just said. So you just talk about, all right, when Russell's in there, you don't necessarily want Najee. Now, I'm not necessarily agreeing or disagreeing with that theory.
Sure.
I more want to show, because that's not what I wanted to do just now. I just wanted to show how you could do this. So I can say, if I could specifically say, if Russell Wilson is in the lineup, decrease projection for RB, or I can name him. I can just say, no, it's Najee. It's not Warren. So I can decrease projection for Najee Harris by 20%, let's say. Now, what that will do is, rather than just, I can also just straight make a rule 0 and 1 of, I could force it that it will never happen. That's this rule right here. 0 and 1 of Wilson, Najee, bam, add rule.
Yep.
It will never allow for more than one of them in the lineup. This one is a little more, we call this the sim rule. So you're simulating game action. And in simulated game action, Wilson is smashing. And because of that, Najee is not smashing. Got the mute on for that sneeze. There we go. So you could make a rule. If Wilson is in the lineup, reduce projection for Najee by 20%. Boom, add rule. And now they're rarely going to show up together. This is some of the cool stuff. So if you have cool ideas or interesting ideas about the slate, where you don't want to go a hard set rule like no Warren and Najee in the same lineup. I get that. That makes sense. But you might not want to quite go that intense. So you could do something more like this. I would actually switch this around and say Najee. If Najee Harris is in the lineup, this is the reverse way of doing it. You got to be able to think a lot of different ways. You would say, I want to reduce Wilson. And I'm actually going to leave this one in because I prefer this rule.
Warren.
And Warren, this one I'm actually going to use. So just so you know, I'm using this. Get rid of this one. And now it's, if Najee Harris is in the lineup, decrease Warren and Wilson. Oh, I have to do one for each.
Yeah, and then I was going to say you could add a statement now. Increase wide receiver or tight end if you wanted to as well. And the same rule. And then boom, you're set.
Yeah. You can make as many I could actually just specify 20% Wilson, 15% Warren. I could do more rules based on Najee Harris and what happens in a lineup when he's in there. Add the rule, bam, and now what will happen is it's not that it will prevent them from ever being in a lineup together. It's just going to be less likely.
Exactly. I love that piece of it. It's not a full-on ruling out.
Yeah. Tebow time. He learned what it was like when your sub goes dark and you without the community, you're all by yourself. Doesn't feel good. He didn't know. He didn't get the Jameis Winston to Tillman memo.
It's a lonely feeling.
By the way, both of those, I just want to point out again so that people don't think I'm full of shit. I'm just going to show you my cores because I was so proud of them. You know, Winston, Tillman, HN, Swift, Cook. This is my core. Wait, you can't see it. Fuck. Oops. Where am I? Get out of the... Yeah. Look at this, Bobbywow. Jameis, this is my core plays from this weekend. Jameis Winston, smash. Cedric Tillman, smash. Devon HN, smash. DeAndre Swift, smash. James Cook, thanks, Burns. I fucking took it from him.
That's a great call by Burnsy.
Yeah, smash. Okay. Josh Allen, also smashed. These are better than I thought. I didn't remember this shit. Did Josh Allen smash? No.
Yeah, he did well. I just didn't need him because of the value.
Well, I had Winston in there too. So you
had Winston anyway.
So you couldn't get both. So anyway, what a smash for the cores. Holy cow. Where are these more winners? I played a lineup that looked just like this. I handcrafted a 190. I don't know, guys. I don't know what to tell you. Show me those wins off of that. This core, got to be crushing it. But that's what you get when you're signing up DFS Army. Get in here. Promo code Geek, 10% off. DFS Army.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And just to address No Name's question here, confused seeing 4,200. That's his captain price. Looks like you're on the captain tab.
Yeah. It's not that. So I don't think we have anything more to cover here, Bobbywow. Showdown tonight. Yep. Two ways of I'm building for two scenarios. One version is Giants get rocked and they stink. And the second version is Giants lose, but they suck less. And they play competently.
There you go.
I don't really see any other way. All right, let's leave it at that. Bobbywow, Showdown breakdown.
Good stuff. Giants
at the Steelers. Guys, build for the smash of the Giants getting killed and build for the kind of competent game action. If you want the free month of DFS Army, right up here on the DFS Army website, there's a button. You push it, you read the instructions, get yourself a free month. That is for new. Don't. That's for new users. We're trying to get new people in here. We're not trying to have our current subscribers unsubscribe and do that. So let's not do that. If you don't mind. New subscriber, you get a month of VIP, or you could just use my promo code Geek, get any one of our plans, 10% off. The Core 4 right now, it covers all the sports that are going today for the Equinox. So make sure to check it out. Shout out to Ash in the soccer room and the NHL guys are crushing it. It's been a great start to NBA. I watched multiple takedowns this week, including I wanted to play on Saturday night, didn't play it. Saw mini max takedowns all over the place. A lot of our guys are playing in the mini max. You might not see them out there because they're playing in the mini max, the 50-cent game. We don't judge. Play in the quarter game, the 50-cent game. It's not that bad to win $3,000 off of 50 cents, guys.
And the nickel, whatever you do it.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with that. And when you lose, you don't lose much. So we are playing profitable DFS at DFS Army. The number of multiplier DFS Army helmets at this point, Bobbywow, it's a phenomenon. I'm in the multipliers and everybody's been listening. And now it's all DFS Army. Actually, and now I got to find something else because they're knocking me out. Now it's my own people.
Now your own
They're knocking me out in the multipliers from
the apprentice has become the master, which is the goal, right? That is the goal. Yeah. So that's a good thing.
And Kaboom Big Ben, you've been here for long enough to know that if you're MMEing for the first time, that should happen in a nickel game, in a quarter game, or a 50-cent game. Please don't spend money until you've won one and you've proven that you can win them.
I walked through, if you're a VIP member, I walked through the settings at the end of the FanDuel video that we did Saturday. By
the way, Wake Up with Wow, although I felt like it came out late, but the smooth sounds of Bobbywow talking me through my my FanDuel lineups late night on Saturday night. You didn't even know. We hang out on Saturday night. You didn't even know it because it's just the smooth sounds of Wow in the background while I'm building for that FanDuel contest. Fucking 18th place. I blame you partially for not getting first, but we'll talk about that later.
That's fair enough.
All right, that's going to do it, guys. Good luck tonight. Showdown. We've got another big week coming up. Week 9. We're over the hump. So look for the first look on Tuesday. Look for
send positive vibes, prayers my way, please, because of the Bears.
Bobbywow getting. Listen, I'm suffering. I'm Jets. I gave up. By the way, you should know I felt the pain too the last 2 weeks, worse than the Bears, because the Jets don't have a young quarterback on the upswing to give me hope for the future. I got nothing. I'm in worse shape than you. You lost to a Hail Mary. How about my kickers missed 4 game-winning field goals, and we're only 8 games into the season? Greg Legatron, and I got another thing. If we're ranting, while we're ranting here, let me tell you something, Jets brass. If you guys happen to be watching this, when the kicker misses a game winner, you give him a shot. When he misses a second game winner, you cut him right away. There's no waiting for kickers. There's other ones in the wings. And by the way, the next person who picks up Legatron, he'll be fine. Just they ruin themselves on a team. They got to go.
Got the yips.
No, you can't have it. You got to go. Don't wait. They never get over it on the same team. Brandon McManus for a while could not kick a field goal on the Broncos. I remember a couple of years ago. Cut him. Don't matter. I don't care if it's even Harrison Butker. I don't care how good of a kicker it is. They start missing field goals. Cut them. They need a new environment or else it gets in their head. They never fix it. The pressure is too great. Once you've missed 2 or 3 game winners, you're done. I'm trying to think of a real life comparable to this. I don't think there's anything. What other thing in life is comparable to this?
It's the yips.
Yeah,
it's literally the yips.
But no,
Robbie Gould got the yips for the Bears.
But then he went to another team and he was great.
And he went to the 49ers and he was amazing.
This is what I'm saying.
Yes.
The Jets don't have anybody who has a brain in the leadership group to understand this shit. You miss a couple. Now they've lost the season because of a kicker.
But the nice thing about the Jets is they just suck. They never get your hopes up ever. Aaron Rodgers just sucked this season. They never got their. No, come on. They've been bad.
They allowed. There was a hope nugget. There's Devontae Adams. There's Aaron Rodgers. A hope nugget got into my mind.
There's no journey up the roller coaster awaiting the drop like there is with the Bears, with the double doink and this Hail Mary thing. It's just like it's nonstop. It's just miserable. We just need to drink together and console each other
and talk about our combined misery. But I agree with Dixon side her over here that Gary V needs to own the Jets at this point. We're not going to win with
Lord have mercy.
We need Gary V. I can't do a Gary V impression, but one day I will. I need to watch him a little bit more. I know hey guys, he's got a really high voice, but I can't do. I don't know Gary V too well enough to do an impersonation. But if he owns the Jets, I'll learn it.
Bring Steve Cohen over from the Mets or whoever that is.
Or Steve, yeah, I'll take him. Whoever he is, we like him here in New York because the Mets won. All right, that's going to do it, guys. Take care, everybody. We will see you next time. Showdown Breakdown. Where my turds at?